Let's just clear the air. Today I'm talking about the False Ascension Matrix and just my personal journey with getting out of the New Age, what that was for me. I've been really putting off this video for a while just because of just like the layers of, persecution and things that I needed to work on and heal. This is information that I initiated into over the years training as an oracle. A lot of this knowledge I learned from Emily Joy Harris. I think it's really important to credit where you, learn your information so you're not passing it on as your own, although there is things that, I've also learned within my own personal journey that really resonated and blended with a lot of the stuff that I was trained in. And so, yeah, this information is really can be triggering. So if you don't resonate with it or you feel threatened by it or any sort of way, like, you don't have to believe in the same things that I'm talking about. I just ask, if you do tune into this information, that you do have an open mind about the information that you're receiving, just because for me, getting out of the New Age was an extremely triggering process. It was intense. I was just like, oh my gosh, how to the level of how much I realized that I was tricked and how much humanity has been tricked on such a mass scale is so... It's really unfortunate, and it's sad, and it's all sorts of... Yeah, when I was 19, I got in a pretty bad car accident, and it opened me up. I started seeing angels and things and beings, and it really opened me up. So I was working with a teacher at that time in my early 20s that, well, let's just say she's Miley Cyrus's cousin. I'm not going to name her name, but she is definitely like a reptilian angelic hybrid. I wouldn't say that all reptilians are bad, and I wouldn't say like, all angels are bad or good or whatever. It's, we are in a polarizing planet. I do find that it is best to stay neutral about certain things, but to authentically get to that place, not like just detached from your body altogether, because, to really authentically go through an ego death, it's not about bypassing, it's not about, pretending that your feelings aren't real. It's actually about authentically having a human experience and seeing how, we actually have things that we need to face. A big part of Ascension is emotional healing work. And unfortunately, due to artificial light, it tends to bypass a lot of like the more deeper processes that we need to go through on this planet. And so, yeah, I was training with a teacher, and I was doing like the full moon rituals and things like that, and all the Reiki, which I don't recommend. The traditional Japanese Reiki, that modality is not what I thought it was. I'm not saying that if you don't have a pure heart. I have found people that do Reiki that have a pure heart that actually can run the light properly, but unfortunately the symbols have been inverted and do run an inverted light current, which does plug up to the fourth and fifth dimension, like right in between, the fourth and fifth dimension. The fourth dimension is where the astral realm, right in between the fourth and fifth dimension is where the False Ascension Matrix actually is. Okay, so what is the False Ascension Matrix anyway? Why was it created? What is the big deal about it? Well, there's a lot of angles as to why it's been created. The same reason why, Christianity has been a way to manipulate people and to having a cringy idea of what God is. And, if you can basically trick humanity into believing false information, you can put people on a false ascension timeline, right? And it's it's very tricky, you know? Like, the thing about the moon, it was originally a very Christed being, but unfortunately was hijacked by a being called the Dark Mother. So another word for the Dark Mother is Baphomet. So the Dark Mother is like a dark alien mother energy. That's like a false parent, just like the Dark Father, who's connected to Saturn, who is connected to the Bible, Yahweh. And so that whole energy is, it's like you have Dark Father, Dark Mother, you have fallen consciousness, you have the fallen goddess, the fallen masculine archetype. There's a lot of energies at play that really, there are things that a lot of us have contracted to clear. Some of us have, had to get into a lot of the new age practices to understand what it means to do a contract called Indigo 3 contract, which can also consist of, drug abuse or addictions or autoimmune issues or even false light, which can really tie into being a polarity integrator, switching blueprints, clearing the addiction templates, and bringing in higher technologies from source. So starting from the ground up, I didn't realize that I was really tied into the False Ascension Matrix. I thought that I was helping people. Hopefully this is still recording. I thought that I was helping people, and I was almost like addicted to the energy. I didn't even realize that, like, false light actually like puts tears and leaks and like reversals, like metatronic reversals in the light body, and plugs up to that false ascension matrix and harvests energy. And when you start clearing out a lot of these alien technologies, these artificial implants, and artificial light, you actually are able to anchor source light more properly into the body. So through my journey, I was almost like on this hamster wheel of like trying to feel better, trying to always like do healings, always after the next thing and the next thing, trying to fill this void and not actually understanding, why I was just cycling through like autoimmune issues and just like not feeling good and doing full moon rituals and connecting with, the Dark Mother unconsciously and not understanding, what that energy is. And so, that the false ascension matrix really exploits the ego. But when you get out of the false ascension matrix, you really understand what it means to like be of service. You don't do things strictly for your ego. You really do them because you care, you understand, you want to do it for God, you want to do it for, the evolution of humanity. And it's almost like the false ascension matrix and the artificial light. It's like, there's almost like this arrogant energy that comes with it, and it's very like, people think that they're more ascended than they really are, and they're just looping in. It's like some people are totally even outside their body, and they're like, ascending to the 24th dimension, and they haven't even, integrated their bottom 3 chakras yet. And it's like so dangerous to even do that because, it's like they're like mentally fragmenting themselves, and they go into a psychosis, and it's really dangerous. And so what I've really learned, going back to Jesus Christ of Nazareth, not the false father in the Bible, but the real Jesus Christ, it really helped me purify a lot of that artificial light and all the implants and, even miasma, black goo that was really stuck in my cells. And it was such a journey and such an unraveling to really even start embodying the Sophia, the feminine Christ energies. That's a lot of my work is grounded and rooted into Keontic science and Christ Sophia, the feminine Christ, and Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And so, yeah, I really love Jesus. I love God. It's such a special, unique relationship, and it's really illuminating when you understand what it means to connect to God's highest holy will. And when I was in the False Ascension Matrix, I didn't really have a relationship with Jesus. I was talking about Christ consciousness, but I didn't really understand Jesus in this lifetime in the ways that, I do now. And, I was connecting with the archangels. I don't recommend working with the archangels. I've heard some things about how there are good archangels, but beings like Archangel Metatron, Archangel Michael, those are not good beings. Archangel Metatron is actually the main being that runs the False Ascension Matrix, while Yahweh works with like the more, Dark Father, Saturn energy, the religious indoctrinations, and satanic energies like the black cube technology, all of that stuff. But yeah, I learned a lot of lessons around working with different beings that were not like Saint Germain. In my early 20s, I was hosting Ascension Flame ceremonies with Saint Germain. Saint Germain, no, I do not recommend working with that being. He is not what you think. I mean, however way you might think. I just learned otherwise, that is like the violet flame, that is not a good technology. It's actually a reversal plasma. The original organic energy is actually working with an amethyst flame and is working with Merlin. Merlin is like the original Christed Magi, and he was really training with Arthur and Avalon, working with the Cathars and the Nazarenes and the Essenes and all of that stuff, which is another discussion that I'm going to talk about on a different video. But going back to the False Ascension Matrix, beings like Ashtar Command, the Galactic Federation of Light, that is not the Great White Brotherhood. Those are all false light beings that make contracts with AI. Even Archangel Metatron was originally a good being, but then made contracts with AI and decided to, start doing things that are not for the highest good of humanity. And Helena Blavatsky and I would say Aleister Crowley were the two beings that really set the foundation for the False Ascension Matrix. They were the ones that laid down all those dark grids in the Egyptian timelines, and they did all sorts of really dark SRA stuff that is also connected to the lunar matrix. There are all sorts of nasty beings on the moon right now currently that are false light beings, and I don't recommend, like I said, doing any full moon rituals. I'm not saying that the original spirit of the moon is pure, but even I'm trying to learn and understand what it means to connect to the original spirit, because right now at this time there are goddesses that are connected to Sophia that are very pure, and they're really coming online right now in the field, like Goddess Athena, for instance, or Lakshmi, or Kali Ma. These beings are very beautiful and Christed and love God and would not harm the innocents. But unfortunately, due to the False Ascension Matrix, a lot of these beings have been inverted. I mean, there's even inverted Akhenaten beings. There's AI pantheon beings that people make contracts with that actually hybridize aspects of the DNA. So one thing that I learned in getting out of the New Age is that no being will ever try to merge into your light body. That's so dangerous. Like when they latch into your light body, they're basically using your vessel, and it's just a big karmic mess when you make a contract with an AI entity. It's very dangerous. Pantheon beings, it's not safe at all to work with. These beings harvest and manipulate you and do all sorts of dark stuff. So yeah, it's all sorts of things. When you understand what is going on with SRA, that is like one of the saddest things on this planet, to understand what beings are doing right now to the innocent. It is so absolutely sad to know, and it's probably one of the more harder truths to talk about. A lot of false teachers and beings say things like they're not available for that, or they say, oh, like, I heard that the moon, the moon's finally free from darkness. And it's like, what? Like, we're still doing so much work right now around the moon. So, like, anyone that believes that, like, Lilith or that whole interface system has been completely dismantled wants to make their ego feel better, and does not understand that there is still so much work to do around dismantling these dark systems. I mean, there's even like the energy underneath the Vatican is just so intense to know, like, the ways that, they've lied to us and they've enslaved us through, even like the tax system and all that stuff. Oh, I need to get let's see if this is still recording. Okay. Yeah, I need to just get a phone stand. I've been just like not wanting to do that. But hopefully this stands. Okay, this is being so stubborn. Okay. It took me a minute to get that going. Yeah, false light beings like Archangel Metatron and Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael, all those beings. I don't work with those beings. I work with the solar angelic beings. I work with the Eli angels. I work with Christ Michael. I work with the angels that love God. And I make it very evidently clear to not consent to false light beings in my work. I'm very strict with that. And I make it a point to not, connect with any sort of false light or, dark beings at all whatsoever in my work at all. A lot of the people that are talking about ascending to the 5D are actually talking about ascending to the False Ascension Matrix, which is in the 5D. And that's like totally like that's not what should be happening. It's so messed up what's happening here on this planet. And we're really not going to help people until we really start talking about what's really happening in the spiritual community. We can't bypass, the reality of like how we've been lied to. Yeah, and the best way that I clear false light is Christ light, Christ golden light. I love working with Jesus. He is like my main, like, safe masculine. I'm also very connected to King Arthur and the Lyran guardians of light. I'm a starseed angelic hybrid. I've trained working with different Godhead technologies and things like that. And all of God's technologies are made of plasma, and AI technologies are not plasmic. It's not made of source light. It's false light. And so anyone that thinks that anything that's artificial light is like helping humanity, sure, it's like innovative in the fact that we're using this strong technology to like make it easier to communicate with each other, but there's so much better technologies that come from source that are way more above anything that we're using on this planet right now. So and none of this stuff is to invoke fear. I've had women that I've trained, really this information has really kind of tripped them out. And it's you're actually bringing light to it. You want to bring awareness to it. It's natural to have fear come up, and be triggered and be angry and stuff, but don't shoot the messenger. Don't get mad at me because I'm not the one that wrote this story. I'm not the one that has anything to do with the corruption on this planet. A lot of us healers that are doing really hard work are constantly getting attacked. I mean, people that are not getting attacked right now are not threats. I'm not saying we should constantly be going through psychic attack all the time where we're losing our minds and we deserve to suffer all the time. But when you're doing true healing and you're clearing these layers of really deep enslavement programs and AI and entities and things like that, like you're gonna come up against antichrist spirits, okay? Like you're just gonna come up through psychic attacks. It's just become like a normal part of my life. It's clearing black magic. I mean, I went through a series of like clearing an obnoxious amount of black magic from the Egyptian timelines, but everybody has a different contract. I wouldn't say like not everybody's going to go through as intense of a initiation as other people, and I hope like many of you guys don't have to go through some of the more intense stuff that I've had to go through, and I've also had to learn the hard way. I feel like I should just not tap the table at this point. Okay. Hopefully it stays. But yeah, it's you can really tell when people are really tied into like a lot of the false light stuff because there's a lot of bypassing. They're not really able to look into a lot of the more deeper stuff. Like my kind of people are not scared to look at the deeper truths. They're not like scared to see, what's really going on. And so a lot of people who are tied into false light too will have like a million viewers that they're actually like feeding false light entities. I'm not saying everybody that is really high up in the spiritual community is connected to false light, but it's very like part of the community. It's been so normalized in society to be connected to these energies, and so it's really sad to see. I'm just gonna read up on some of my notes and see what I have here. There's so many notes. There's so many things that I wrote down about this, but yeah, I mean, I think it's really important for us to learn, and this has been a big part of my journey too, is really having compassion for people that just don't understand this knowledge, don't understand. It's not anyone's fault for being tricked. We aren't the origins of the people that originally did this to us, but it is our responsibility to learn and to heal from it and to help others as much as we can. Get out of the false ascension matrix and purify our light bodies and clear all these antichrist systems out of our bodies, and just learn from the truth. The truth is not always like love and light. It's actually like really extremely painful, and it's really sad, and it's hard, and it's let's see if there's anything else that I want to talk about. False light angels, archangels, fallen consciousness, fallen goddess archetype, the princess archetype. A lot of the MK Ultra programming that they put in movies is really to like get people's consciousness trapped in a lot of these like false ideologies and archetypes, like the Dark Mother, and it's really quite trippy when you understand mind control and how they have implemented it in movies and TVs. Like a lot of the stuff, a lot of things in books and the stuff that's taught in school, it's all this stuff is false. It's like false information, and it's not real information. And yeah, it's basically confusing people and not really, because truth is like the highest form of knowledge. When you understand the truth and what's real, it's like it's part of the I am. It's part of embodying the highest version of the soul instead of the false self or the false knowledge, or like, yeah, it's anyway. That's all I have for today. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions about the False Ascension Matrix, please reach out to me. I'm probably going to do more videos about this. I know that I said I was going to do this a while ago, and I just have not had the time or energy or capacity to do it till now. So thanks for tuning in.